What's up, Shad? How everyone is feeling today? Welcome again to another live stream. Excited to be back after yesterday. I feel like yesterday was a very good live stream. I had a bunch of fun working with AI. Welcome everyone to the chat and to the stream again. Just excited to see everyone again and to be back to another live stream. Happy Friday, TJ Miller, and thanks for yesterday, dude. I really had some fun yesterday, dude. I would love to have you again. I'm gonna be honest with you, because I feel like while everyone was super excited, of everything we have seen yesterday, I probably feel like you were the one just thinking probably, oh my god, I can do so much. I can do so much more with this package. That probably it's worth to have you again, and maybe give you, full unscripted live, so basically you can show everything you want, you know what I mean? Hello everyone, welcome again to another live stream. I'm gonna put here my E-pop music as usual, so you guys know yesterday we ran an experiment doing a full live stream without music. However, I cannot live without it, so you guys let me know what you think. But today I'm back to my E-pop music. Hey TJ, thanks for the subscription, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And let's check the chat here before we start. By the way, oh my god. Today we finally doing that live stream you guys are asking since the first day, which is checking dark magic in PHP. So literally, we are going to see some of the functions PHP have, which are a little bit mysterious, like eval and reflection and debug struct trace, like all these functions that nobody knows what they do. But today I'm going to show you some of this stuff. Oh, TJ, thank you so much for the subs, man. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. So first of all, before we start, man, how was your day, Chad? My day was fun. I actually managed to finish kind of a big deal to Laravel Cloud, so it will go to production early next week, and will be kind of being tested while we wait for the for a second batch of customers, let's say, which are entering the platform. And yeah, quite a productive week. I feel like also feel like probably part of the reason why this week went so productive at work was because of these live streams, because basically I'm able to come here and have fun at night and kind of feeling refreshed in the morning. So yeah, Mohamed is saying that is finally able to catch a live stream. Well, I'm happy that you are here, man. Welcome to the stream. The Big Shot is saying good afternoon, dude. For me it's good night, or but welcome to the stream. Happy Friday to you too, TJ. Madi is saying, hi Nuno, hello Formidan. Hi man, nice to see you here. 43 is asking me if I can see YouTube comments. Yes, I can. I can see both Twitch and YouTube comments, okay? TJ Miller, thank you so much, man, for allowing me to, reach my subscription goal. Yeah, man, I mean, you guys know, the only thing I typically ask is for follow me on Twitch, on YouTube. We have been with an average of 100 concurrent viewers across Twitch and YouTube, which is mind-blowing for me already. But now I have literally these buttons on Twitch, which you can subscribe the channel and literally provide me financial support. And at the same time, you can join me as a member on YouTube, which is kind of the same thing. So thank you so much, folks, for the support, okay? Joel is saying that's the kind of content and it's nice to see. Yeah, man, this week's content was fun. I feel like we had a lot. By the way, oh my god, next week, Monday, we have a special guest. Okay, actually next week we have two special guests already on the pipe, but the first one, it's already like fully confirmed. The day, the hour, and everything. David, thanks for the subscription. I'm gonna give you a tip, and you try to guess on the chat who I'm talking about, okay? So, I'm gonna just put a small emoji, and you guys try to guess who I'm talking about. And it's literally coming next Monday. I won't tell you the name because I want to give the name like Sunday or something, or even Monday, to be honest. But it is coming Monday, and I think will be kind of a fun live stream. You guys will love it, I'm pretty sure. So, you know, I give you the emoji. You guys try to guess who is the guest for next Monday, okay? So today we are going to explore a couple of PHP dark magic functions. You know, I know quite few of them, but I feel like I should have asked ChatGPT for a few of them as well. So we literally have a list. And I'm going to just copy paste what ChatGPT have just wrote to me here, which is kind of a big list. So probably want to remove like a bunch of them. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna start by removing this touch, unlink, fread, fwrite. This is like literally nonsense. Extract is okay. PTSL exec, I don't care. Exec is kind of okay. Pass through, I don't care. System, backtick operator. What is this? Oh, it's a function similar to shell execute. I want to see this one. Preg replace, we don't need it. We don't need this as well. What else can we see today? OB, yeah, we could see OB. Either I don't care. Init set potentially. Include, we don't care. File put contents, we don't care as well. Create function, could be fun. Let's do this one. And yeah, I feel this gives us a kind of a good list already to get started. I'm gonna just comment all of this so you don't have to deal with it. But this is kind of a good list, I feel like. I want to remove the... No, I don't. Okay. Just comment all of this. Just like that, okay? And yeah, I feel today will be a cool and fun live stream because we are going to see some of these PHP dark magic functions, which I literally use all the time. I have been using this kind of functions since my early days at Laravel because as a framework, you end up using so much magic in your code. It's kind of crazy. So, yeah. Nanijlav is asking me, hi Nuno, now that we are on the topic of PHP magic, I want to hear your opinion about something. How you feel about using generators to return results from nested service calls A, calls C, calls D, and is doing something in loop and returns results. We can definitely also check generators today. I'm going to have it here at the end of the list, and I will give you my opinion about generators, when we are exploring this topic. Because generators, to be fair, is kind of also, dark magic in PHP. So I feel like we can check them out for sure. Fabio is asking me, what is today's topic of study? Well, I don't know if you are taking classes here. You shouldn't, because this is literally informal live stream. But today the topic is PHP dark magic. So we are going to see a bunch of PHP functions that normally people haven't heard of. And to be honest, if I wasn't working and, on the real framework like Past and Laravel, I probably wouldn't know these functions either. So you shouldn't have to know these functions. Stuff like debug stack trace or debug print backtrace or create functions, stream wrappers, you shouldn't definitely know about stream wrappers. Error handlers, typically you shouldn't have to deal with this in your project. So I think it'll be fun. We have a lot of functions that we can walk through, and hopefully we are going to see some of them which are funny. Madi is asking me if I know some books for advanced programming or backend concepts. To be honest, I don't think I have ever read a book in my life. So, programming wise at least, I've probably read a few, but it was like just way back in the days. I'm more like a video guy, so I like Laracasts and things like that. So, okay, a few people here think that Monday's guest is Caleb Posio. I don't know. I cannot tell you if it is or not. Okay. Regardless, I don't think you will be disappointed. You will have fun. Daniel is asking me, hello Nuno, you are rocking with the lives, my friend. Congrats. Thank you so much, Daniel. So nice to see you, dude. I miss you, man. It's been a while, but I don't have been with you, and I miss you, man. Truly, I miss you so much. Thanks for being here on the live as well. Good evening, Guinness. Nice to see you here, man. TJ Miller is saying generators are fun. Indeed, they are fun. We're going to see a little bit about that today. Yeah, so I feel like we should get started, all right? So let's just try to pick a funny one to get started here. Let's pick the eval. Oh, by the way, before we get started in all of this, for those of you who just arrived and potentially don't know me, my name is Nuno. I'm a PHP Laravel developer, and I work with everything in between. I started live stream 8 lives ago, so probably like 10 days ago, and I'm having a lot of fun so far with these live streams. So welcome to the stream. If you follow me on Twitch, on YouTube, just give me a follow on those platforms if you're watching me from there, because I mean, you know, I want to increase my audience on those 2 platforms. All right, let's get started, man. I want to check the eval function. So the eval function is kind of a function you shouldn't use. It is literally evil, you know. You should try to avoid eval the most you can, because literally eval allows you something we like to call the arbitrary execution of code. Okay, it's typically a function where you can literally provide code to PHP, and PHP will run the given code to this function, will eval that code or execute that code in runtime, okay? And I can show you some of this. So let's just say the following. Typically, you could have some PHP code that looks like this. You have a person, right? That person can potentially have, you know, a constructor which accepts a name, potentially. So let's just type public, you know, string name, and close this parenthesis. So this is a regular class. We could even say this is a value object where we can execute as simple as this, right? So we can just type something like var dump dd person, and hopefully if I execute this code, let me just move here the laptop a little bit, there we go. And hopefully if I execute this code, I will have an expected end of file on line 58. So I'm going to just address this issue. Here we have the emojis making my file to fail. So I'm going to run this again, and hopefully we have a result, which is John Doe. Now, so this is literally what I like to call static code, because it's literally code written on the file itself. It's code that you know up front that you want to run. But in fact, this little eval function can accept this entire code and actually run it for you. So something I want to do is kind of do this. I'm going to do the following. I'm going to include this code inside right here, okay? This code inside right here, and save it as a string. So at this point, when I do variable code equals to this segment of PHP, I am literally, and when I say literally, it's like literally, saving this given code as string. So if I type, you know, dd, not dd, we don't have dd here, but if I type var dump code, what I do have here at this point is not the actual code, but a string with almost 200 characters. So this variable code is literally a string, you know what I mean? Is literally a string which contains code as well. So what I can do with this string is literally evaluate the content of the given string. And what PHP will do is, besides evaluate the code, we'll actually run the code inside. So hopefully we are going to see the result of eval, which will be an expected token, which we are going to understand why we are having this. So this expected token is coming from the line 5. So let's dive into line 5, which is this little name needs an escape right here. Which undeniably I can probably do this. Let me double check. Yeah, I can. Gonna do this. It's a little bit faster and gets a little bit more pretty. Okay, clear my terminal, run now PHP index, and as you can see, the result of the eval function on the live 11, which is this one, is literally the class person, which contains a name John Doe. I don't know if you guys noticed, but what we have done right here is this is not actual code. This is literally a string that lives within the code variable. So again, if I var dump the code variable, as you can see, I do have, as a result, a string. So this is not actual code. It's literally just a regular string with 200 characters. And when I comment the var dump and I evaluate the code as string, I literally have a result of this evaluation, which is the class person. And I can do something like, you know, var dump the name if I want to, and potentially if I do that, I will see John Doe on the console. It's kind of, you know, typically nobody have this need. However, actually on Laravel Vault, which is that function API you may have seen for Livewire, you may have seen that you actually use functions, and behind the scenes, those functions are actually compiling a huge string of code that gets evaluated through this given eval, you know? So that's why this function is so powerful. It basically allows the arbitrary execution of code. What do you guys think about this? Did you ever actually had the need of using eval? You know, typically something that people do not recommend because it literally has some security issues. Because, you know, eventually via HTTP request, if you allow anyone to provide anything to this, your attacker can literally, you know, use everything in your server just by providing code to this function. So it's kind of, you know, dangerous, you know what I mean? Yeah, Philippa is saying that eval was, you know, used a lot back in the days to hack WordPress websites. Yeah, eval is kind of a dangerous function, so you want to avoid it at all costs for sure. So I'm using eval in multiple places, to be honest. I'm using eval on past PHP to compile regular functions to actually PHP unit classes. I'm using as well eval on Livewire. It's not Laravel Vault anymore, it is? I don't even know. Livewire Vault to literally compile again functions to regular Livewire classes behind the scenes. And I'm pretty sure I've used eval in the past for this sort of things as well. Exatos is saying that PHP, the Blade PHP directive actually uses eval, which is a very good point. So as you may know, in Laravel, you can actually provide this Blade directive, something that looks like this. And what Laravel does behind the scenes is provide this, you know, this given string to the eval function, allowing you to execute code. So a very interesting function, by the way, okay? So I'm gonna save here eval on top as something we have done today, okay? And welcome everyone to the stream. You know, if you don't know me, my name is Nuno, Laravel developer, PHP developer, and today we are literally learning about some dark magics on the PHP ecosystem. I want to ask you guys a favor. Before I close the stream, please do remind me to give a rate to someone, okay? So there is this Twitch feature where, you know, every time I end a stream, I can literally just send everyone who's watching me to another stream channel, and I want to test that today. So potentially, if you guys, you know, remind yourself at the end of the stream, just say something on the chat like rate someone, and I will do that, okay? All right, so we just saw about the eval function. Let's now find another one which can be a little bit more funny than this one. Let's see. So the eval is done. Let's see the destruct one. This is actually a cool one. So again, let's go back into the regular class person, which typically it's probably not a good example, but I'm going to try to show you an example which might be interesting. So let's create a class with the name client factory, okay? By the way, do not do this, okay? What I'm about to show you, don't do it. Again, this is not something you should study. It's not something you want to learn from. This is literally dark magic, and you should avoid it at all costs, okay? Anyways, let's imagine something like a client factory, okay? And this client factory accepts, let's say, a constructor, which contains potentially like the URL of the client, let's say, okay? And then you have other stuff like potentially protected headers, which receives, you know, let's say, a bunch of headers to the client, potentially something just below, which is a protected array, which receives by potentially options, things like that. I'm going to move here into PHP 8.4 because it's the version I'm working on. So I'm going to do that on PHP Storm. Oh my God, can I do that on PHP Storm? I don't even know. I'm going to type PHP. There we go. PHP 8.4, let's go. Okay, so what else can we do here? I'm gonna mark this as a protected property promotion. So in PHP, basically, instead of doing this, like having like the protected stuff over there, you can literally just do this, which is a little bit easier. And once I do this, the way I would probably use this client is by having, you know, some potentially with headers, you know. which could potentially return a clone of this object, which is probably another thing we should talk about. But this will be with others. And finally, what I want to do is what I'm even doing. I want to actually save this on self. Yeah, there we go. This is what I want to do. Thanks for the following. Welcome to the stream. And finally, I'm going to do something like with options, okay? So far all good, I feel like. And potentially the way I can use this code is something that looks like this, client with others, and then provide something like, you know, auth will be, you know, beer and 123. Kind of a, you know, an easy example so far, I feel like. Should I do the clone deal? I will not do the clone deal. I'm going to keep it simple for now, so everyone can follow over there, okay? So this will return this. So we are basically so far creating a very basic example so I can showcase to you what this destruct function is about, okay? So this will return as well, you know, just regular, this variable right here, okay? So if I run this, I should have actually something within the variable client, which potentially is just a regular, just a regular object with, you know, this beer 123, which is exactly what I'm passing here. So sometimes, not always, and again, you want to avoid this, but sometimes people actually forget to call methods like, you know, let's just say call methods like perform, which is something that would effectively perform the call to the client, okay? And I can actually just create a function or a public function which says perform. And to simulate what the client is actually performing, I'm going to just type perform, let's say, performing request, okay? And this will return void. So sometimes we have this pattern, let's say, this factory pattern where we are creating objects. And typically, when you're creating this object, there is always a function which allows to seal the object and actually perform the action you originally wanted, you know what I mean? Here I'm calling perform, so, you know, typically I expect that if I execute these 3 lines of code, I should have something on a terminal which says perform request. So sometimes you want to build this very rich API where you don't want to enforce this perform method if the client doesn't call it directly, you know what I mean? And the way you can do that, kind of avoiding that perform method, this one, is having a destruct function. And again, please do not do this at home. Do not ever use this, okay? So the destruct function is something that gets called when an object is about to die or is about to get garbage collected by the memory, you know, the memory guy of PHP. So each time PHP sees that a variable is no longer being used, what PHP does is kind of removes that object from memory to kind of clean the memory a little bit, okay? So when that moment happens, this function destruct is called it automatically. So something we can do potentially is literally just call this perform right here. So what we will see now is that this 2 line of code will still perform this action perform thanks to the destruct method. So if I type PHP index, you just see performing request, even though you will never perform the actual request on the API. What do you guys think about this? It's kind of funny, right? So there is a lot of places on Laravel where we actually use this. Multiple places really, you know, every time you are dispatching a job, like on Laravel we have this thing called a dispatch function which receives something inside, and typically, you know, you can provide a closure potentially, but then you can just change stuff like delay 30 seconds, you know, or potentially other things. And to not force you to actually go to the end of this deal and actually do, you know, run or perform or dispatch, we actually use this destruct method on the class itself. So when the object is about to be garbage collected, basically we do perform the action. What do you guys think about this? I want to see that on the chat. Cosma Tech is saying destruct is the magic behind most of the pending functions in Laravel. That's right, exactly that, dude. Many of the pending objects, let's say, we have in Laravel have this pattern of basically placing logic within the destruct, which is, you know, typically a function that you wouldn't use on regular projects because it's kind of, you know, let's say magic. Yasin is asking me, what is the key point in class design that lets you know that you should create another class instead of throwing all the logic within one class? For me, I feel like it's truly about, kind of unrelated with the topic, but I feel like it's related with foldering and, you know, project structuring. Typically, if I have something like app, and then, you know, within the app, I would have like controllers, let's say, and then home controller, and potentially here I would have, let's say, form requests, you know. So typically, a class would have only one method, at least one public method, and that public method will do something that belongs to the controller level, something that belongs to the form request level, and then we can, you know, we can change this stuff. You know what I mean? Like if it's something that gets dispatched then asynchronously, probably a job. So the form structure actually, the app structure actually helps me a lot on that. Okay. Nimper is asking me which headphones am I using. I don't even know. Which headphones am I using? That's a great question. I have no idea. I think they are. Let me check. Oh, they are a Sony. I don't even know if. Check it out. You know, they are Sony, but I don't even know what, you know, what the series or, you know, what they're about. Cosmitek is also talking about testability. Yeah, I also feel like this kind of magic functions are hard to test sometimes. Khalid is asking how PHP know that the object is not going to be used anymore in my function. That's a great question. So you asking me like how exactly PHP know that this given variable is not being used anymore? So I can answer you that. Sometimes you have, let's say, I can answer that. That's a great question, by the way. So typically this kind of stuff doesn't live at root level of PHP, right? You would have something like a function, and the function will be called do stuff potentially, and within the do stuff you would have a void return, for example. So if you have something like this, we can actually talk about like a method like index on the regular Laravel controller, you know. So if you're not returning the client itself, PHP just knows that this given variable won't ever be used anymore, you know. PHP also uses this thing called object references, which basically, you know, keeps in track where objects are within the current project. So if you have something like, you know, let's say a globals which hold this given client, PHP will save a reference to this variable global, you know what I mean? However, on the case of a regular function or even just a regular method, PHP just knows that this variable won't be used anymore. Therefore, we'll call the destruct method to kind of performing some cleanup. And at that moment, you can hook into PHP and do this deal. So again, kind of dark magic. So I would avoid to use this, you know, at all costs. Stino is saying your phones are WH1000 MX5. Exactly. I think those are the ones. Exactly. MCS is saying, yeah, MCS is saying that the unset function could also destroy the object. That's right. So potentially, if I were to, you know, to leave this client at root level, potentially, you know, and if I were to type var dump hello, you know, potentially this, hopefully I will see hello before the performing request, which I do. As you can see, hello is right here. However, if I unset the client, PHP will basically clean the memory on this given variable, and hopefully, I'm not sure about this though, but hopefully this will perform the request and then display hello, you know? So very interesting point, by the way, MC West. I really like those kind of comments which make the stream so rich, you know, this kind of deals that basically we can explore a little bit. Yeah. Laravel Online is asking me what is my favorite feature on PHP 8.4. It's probably properties on interfaces. I have made a video just about that in my YouTube channel, just about PHP 8.4 stuff that I like, you know. So yeah, so this is Destruct. By the way, for those who just arrived, my name is Nuno. I am a PHP Laravel developer working on a PHP and Laravel scene. I'm also a Laravel core team member. On this stream, you will find stuff about PHP and about Laravel. Today we are actually checking dark magic in PHP, some kind of this hidden functions, you know, stuff that typically people don't have to do, or they are a little bit too magic for people to use, too dangerous sometimes. And that's today's topic. And you know, if you follow me on Twitch, give me a follow there, please. I'm trying to increase my my audience there. And if you're watching me on YouTube, give me a follow there as well. Thank you so much. All right, so we just have learned about the destruct stuff, which is kind of cool, I feel like. Okay. What else do we have? Destruct is done. Eval is done. Debug info. Interesting. Alters the output of var dump. Let's see this one. So apparently PHP have this debug info, which allows me to change the output of the var dump. Did I see it right? I did. So I would assume that if I were to put debug info on this given class, I can tweak the output of this var dump if I were to var dump the actual client. Let's double check. I'm going to clear my terminal, run PHP index. So the result of a class is literally empty. So the var dump of the client class is literally empty. Potentially because here I do need to return potentially an array. So if I don't have this, I assume it will just var dump the entire class. There we go, right here. I can see the entire thing. However, if I put something like hello stream, potentially I would see hello stream on the console. There we go. This is actually kind of crazy, right? What do you guys think about this? We could potentially, you know, make a pull request to Laravel to improve some of the debug info using DD potentially, you know? This is actually a fun one, I feel like. Debug info. Oh my god, I had no idea about this one. MC West is saying client 2 equals to client, unset client 2 will not trigger the destruct. That's right. So that's the deal about destructs is really about the references. So potentially if you were to have something like, let's say, client 2 equals to client, I'm going to call this client A. Okay, this is client B equals to client A. So if I unset client A, well, technically, if I unset client A, I will see client A has been unset, and then I will see performing request. There we go. Client A has been unset, and then performing request. However, if I do unset also client B, then I will see the, you know, this var dump at the end. I'm going to just call it hello stream, okay? There we go, performing request, because both references to the same object have been cleared, and then I see hello streamer, which is me. Kind of cool, right? So let's just get back into the debug info function and just focus on that a little bit, because I feel like it could be an interesting function to potentially tweak with the DD function of Laravel. So typically sometimes people ask me like, how do I come up with ideas? Well, you know, this is probably a cool thing to explore. Literally just go to the debug info of something like eloquent models potentially, you know, and see if we could hook into this function to add a little bit more rich information to the DD of every given model, you know. Philippa is saying that sensitive parameter values also uses this under the hood. Interesting, because you want to actually you know, hide sensitive information. Yeah, not a lot of people know this, but PHP 8.3 shipped with a feature or with an attribute, I don't even know anymore, but shipped with this little thing where you can put on parameters. So potentially, you know, if you have an option which you would like to hide from any debugger like Sentry or DD, you could potentially just hook an attribute that looks like this, and apparently that hooks into the debug info. That's why we don't see it on the console. That's a very interesting one. Thanks for that feedback, Philippa. That's very good feedback, by the way. Kosai is saying, hello PHP people. Hello, nice to meet you, dude. What language do you use for coding, by the way? Do you also use PHP or use something else? Roberto, welcome to the stream, man. Nice to see you here. All right, so now we just have seen debug info, which is kind of an interesting one, I feel like. Probably my favorite one from all of them, because I already knew this too. This one is kind of new for me. By the way, did any of these functions were new for you? If yes, which one of these functions were kind of new for you as well? So that was 1, 2, 3. Let's now move forward into other ones. Oh, serialize and unserialize. This one is actually massive. Before we start talking about serialize and unserialize, does any of you don't know? Just write on chat if you don't know what serialize and unserialize is about. I would expect that most of you don't know what this is about, because it's kind of something that, again, you wouldn't typically use. So how many of you don't know about the serialize and unserialize functions of PHP? Unless everyone is like an expert here, I wouldn't expect people just to know about this function, because, you know, it's something that's used within Laravel again for actually queue jobs. So it's kind of an interesting one. I'm going to show you real quick. So again, back to this topic of converting code into strings. Something I could potentially do right here is Peak and Flow is saying, I'm far from an expert, but I'm familiar with it. That's crazy though, right? Because I feel like most of people actually wouldn't know this function. It's something that, like, on regular projects, you would never use. So just surprised that nobody here actually said that they don't know this function. Anyways, so first of all, let's see the result. When you do serialize client, let's see the result on the console to see what this is, what the result of serialize client is. So I'm going to just type var dump and then serialize the given object, okay? Kosai is saying that working with WordPress a bit made it familiar. Okay, so you would say that WordPress is using this function, I feel like, right? So if I type PHP index here, the result on the console is kind of an interesting one. So here we are seeing literally a string which contains, I'm going to remove just this debug info and this destruct as well, and this preform as well. So if I run PHP index, what we are seeing is literally that the result of var dump was actually a regular string. So this string is up to 152 characters and contains information that looks like this. So what the serialize function does, it's literally grabbing the object and converting that object to its string form. Okay? So what this will allow PHP to do is literally convert afterwards this string back to the object itself, which is interesting. So what I can do here is literally just preserve this thing, like, let's say, instance as string, potentially, something that looks like this. I could potentially save this in a database or stuff like that. And then what you can do is grab back the instance from that string by doing unserialize that given string. And be mindful that the result of this will now be the instance object itself. For me, this is kind of crazy that PHP allows me to do this, because it's truly funny. Like what I'm seeing right now is literally the object that got var dumped, not the actual string, which is kind of funny. So I can do stuff like, I could call perform right here if I want to. So I'm gonna add back this perform method, and now I can actually perform stuff on that given object. As you can see, performing a request to, https example.php.com. And what you can do potentially on this stuff is, if you want, you can literally just, var dump this instance as string. Dude, I just love this kind of stuff. This kind of, like last year and 2 years ago, on the 2 years I worked fully on open source at Laravel, this is the kind of stuff that I was loving to do this, like jumping into these magic deals and always trying to find cool features based on this. But, I'm going to type PHP index and I'm going to just copy this given thing, because what I feel we can do is something that looks like this. Check this out. I'm going to comment this. I'm going to comment this. And then I'm going to just provide that string we have right here as a regular string, just like this. And now I'm going to create back the instance we had. So I can't even remove all of this, I think, So I'm going to create the instance we have using the unserialize function. Thanks for the following, Jean Jack. So if I type PHP index, I was close. It's telling me that perform on false. So potentially is having troubles to unserialize this. Let me double check. That was close. This should be working. But yeah, behind the scenes, it literally works a little bit like this. So the string is actually given to this variable, and then we can unserialize the string to actually perform the call the method on the instance. So I think it's funny, you know. It's actually a cool thing to work on, and you know, we use a lot of this stuff. So you know, on queue jobs, we are using this stuff. We are using this on route caching as well. What else? You know, any kind of file-based caching uses this kind of stuff. So this is basically serialize and unserialize. Very magical function of PHP. And again, you want to avoid them at all costs. So serialize and unserialize. The wake up is for another day, but yeah, this too. Funny ones, I feel like. So far, the only one I was not familiar with was this debug info. Each one of these functions you guys didn't know yet. For me, it was like the debug info was kind of the most surprising one. Any other was kind of, you know, I was familiar with them already. Highlight file. I have no idea what this one is about. What the highlight file is. So it says that it displays a file source code is HTML. What is this? So let's just remove all of this and just, you know, start from scratch. So the function is called highlight file. So definitely it is. And the first argument is literally the file itself. So I'm going to provide my own file. So if you don't know, PHP have these constants globally available. One of them is like this file thing. This file thing allows you to basically return the current file is full path, where something like dir would return to you the current directory. And before we actually dive into the highlight file, let's just see the results of this file and the results of of the dir function, the dir string. Apologize. So if I run this, you know, the first thing I have is that the dir or the directory is indeed users nuno maduro work code stream, and the second constant, which is called file, has the actual file name with the directory. So what we can do here, hopefully, is do this. So I have no idea what will happen. Apparently, if I over it, PHP Storm is telling me that this will return a boolean or a string. And looking at this, seems that to actually have a return, I do need to provide this boolean up to true. This is kind of the funky API of PHP, where if you want to return, you provide a true. If you don't want to, you don't provide anything. It's kind of a weird API, if I must be honest. So I'm going to just run it like this to see what is the result we have so far. And the result is literally HTML. Like, what the heck? What is this? Now I'm curious. What happens if I just put this like on the browser? What is this? Let me try something. So I'm gonna create here. Okay, I'm gonna create here this index.html, and I'm gonna move this stuff into it. I have literally no idea what this stuff is about. So I'm not gonna create just regular HTML tags with a body. Okay, and result of function. Okay. Felipe is saying that it's basically a syntax highlighter. Well, I guess we are about to see that, I feel like, okay? So I just copy-pasted the entire thing into this deal. It does have some coloring as well, which is a little bit surprising, I would say. So I guess I can, I can just open this deal, okay? So I'm gonna just type open, and then index HTML. I'm gonna show you, this is hilarious. Oh my god, I'm gonna open here, 1 second. So this was the result. which is, you know, seems like there is some syntax highlighting here, literally, you know. Let me just add some code into this. 1 second here. 1 second. I'm actually quite curious to see if what happens if I actually just put some classes into this stuff. So I'm gonna type class person. Yeah, just, you know, just regular stupid stuff right here. Okay. Okay. Like PHP have a built-in syntax highlighter. Who have guessed it? I had literally no idea. Oh my god. Come on, man. Nobody knew this. Like, who knew that this... Come on, who in the chat knew that this function existed? Nobody could know this. This is a little bit surprising. Come on. Like, PHP have a built-in syntax highlighter. Nobody could ever know this. It's like literally impossible. Wow, actually the result is a little bit surprising, don't you think? Look at this. Does it look bad? This is like, it's actually fun. I'm surprised. I'm gonna be honest. I'm surprised. Oh, forgot to show you. I'm like literally having fun looking at nothing. But yeah, check it out. It's crazy, right? I'm very surprised. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm very surprised. Yeah, it should be fixed, the black screen. I apologize about that. What do you guys feel like? That's a... I mean, I must be honest. I wasn't expecting this literally from this function. Kefi and Dev is saying, yeah, it's crazy. It is indeed crazy. I'm a little bit surprised, you know. Maxwell is asking me why dash dash parallel doesn't work with type coverage. It's just simply not done yet. Feel free to contribute that one. It will be kind of a big one, I think, in terms of code. But yeah, it's simply not done yet. Dudes, I'm surprised about this one. And happily surprised. I think it's... I wouldn't use it, I feel like, but it's kind of, you know, a cool function. Oh, well, I must be honest. I didn't know this one. This one is totally a surprise for me. I'm going to be honest, okay? So, yeah, we talked about... Which one it was? How was the name of this? Highlight file. So what does the return does? Probably returns a thing, I would say. Highlight file, there you go. So I assume that the return will basically stop outputting stuff to the console. So if I do this, I have nothing on the console. There we go. But if I dd... Dude, we need to create dd. I'm just tired of typing var dump. Oof. Now I can leave again. Jesus Christ. Okay, if I did this result, what do we have? Yeah, we have literally the result on the console as the return expression. This is an interesting one. I wasn't expecting. Well, props to PHP. Thank you for this. Bam, 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 bam. Nice one. Nice surprise, I must say. Next one, I want to talk about this one because this one, I'm actually using it quite a bit. Debug backtrace. And do not tell me that you know this function because it's too magical for any of you to know. You probably do because you probably have seen it sometimes. But debug backtrace is kind of a good one. Apparently it's kind of one that is slow, but we use it at Laravel all the time. So I don't know. I'm going to show you something cool. So if I type something that looks like this, function A, okay. And function A prints simply A, okay. Let's say now function B, which prints B, and now we have a function C, which prints C, okay. So then I want the function A to call B. I want the function B to call C. So potentially the result of this will be something that looks like the following. Let's see. CBA, okay? So what can happen is that sometimes you want to understand where a particular code came from, okay? And what you can do for that is use this function called debug stack trace, which is a very magical function of PHP, which I just forget if it does output stuff or it returns stuff. Apparently it does return stuff. So I'm gonna dd the given debug backtrace. And as you can see, the result is literally nothing. Why is that? Now I'm a little bit surprised. Isn't the debug backtrace supposed to literally just see where variables were coming from and stuff like that? Let me see. Oh, it's like with objects, apparently. Chad, I need your help here. What do you guys think? What do you guys know about this debug backtrace? And, you know, Najislav is saying that A does not call anything. Oh, it does. A calls B and B calls C. So debug backtrace is not doing its job. Let me see. Oh, maybe I need some like objects or stuff like that. Let me see. I'm going to create a class person. I'm going to provide this person around, so something that looks like this: new person, and this will receive person and provide person to this little buddy right here. Do the same here, and finally return all it back. How about now, Chad? You think this will work? I have literally no idea. What is this? Object of a class person could not be converted into string on line 20. Oh yeah. Interesting. So debug backtrace is not working the way I thought it would. So, oh, Peek and Flow is saying a very important comment here, which is this backtrace is literally at root level, and potentially we need to call it inside a function, as Kalier is saying as well. Let's do that. So let's just basically dd the backtrace, but potentially at this step within C, for example. So I expect A to be called, and then B to be called as well. And finally, when we call C, we should see our buddy db backtrace with some information, which we do. Thank you so much, chat, for the help. So what do we have here? Well, the first line, it says that the first file ever called was the index.php, which is indeed the one we are living on. And yeah, this is like backwards, basically. Okay, so I'm going to start with the last one. So it's saying that the very first function called in this script was the function within the file index.php. The function name is called A, lives on the line 39, which is right here, which is true. So this is like the array on the position 2. And then the next call we have is on the same file, indeed, but this time on the line 22, which is this one right here. And I also have these key arguments, which technically gives me access to this variable person at that time. And the last call being made, I would imagine, is on the line 28, which it is. So the last call being made is also on this file, on the line 28, and indeed is, you know, the function call is being C. So if you guys are familiar with potentially a stack trace like collision or like ignition or like the most recent one in Laravel, which I also developed actually, the stack trace allows you to basically see where the error is coming from, and behind the scenes is effectively using this function called a db backtrace. So something we can do here to simulate that behavior is doing something that looks like this. For each debug backtrace trace, I could potentially just var dump the trace, potentially only the file, and the function, if I'm not mistaken. There we go. I'm going to just do the line and the function. And if I do this, as you can see, I have kind of a very close backtrace. just like we have on ignition or on collision, every time you have a problem on the console, literally, okay? So here what I will do is make it a little bit more pretty. So line 21, blah, blah, blah. What do we have now? There we go. So let's imagine that for a second that here there is an error, potentially, okay? And you would exit the code, or exit the code right here. So this would give you, oh, I have a problem, where the problem is coming from. Oh, it's coming from the line 28, problem on the function C, and then there's line 22 function B, and you would basically see all the stack trace, which is kind of interesting. So just to say that all the errors you see sometimes on Laravel, or you see errors on PHP itself, or potentially you see that on the console, all of that is using this little function called the db backtrace. Daniel is saying I should call db backtrace inside of every function. Well, to be honest, the only place it makes sense is that when you have a problem, So potentially if I have a problem here, I kind of want to see where this problem is coming from, so I would probably just call it here for now. Philippe is asking me, how do you have a dd function? Well, I actually created this dd function on top. I apologize, I actually, I was just a little bit distracted, and I'm kind of used to this dd function of Laravel. So what I did is I created a dd function on top of my file. This dd function, the only thing it does is put all the arguments that are given to this dd function and var dump them. So I did this. I think it's a cool one. So I always do this. Obviously in Laravel, the dd function is a little bit more, better than this, but this does the job for now. All right, so this was db backtrace, which I would assume that the print backtrace would basically just print the backtrace without returning anything whatsoever. Philippa is saying that this is basically D without die. What do you mean exactly? All right, this was a fun one, I feel like. So still, I did know a little bit about that because I've basically worked on it. I worked on it while working in exception handling on Laravel. Kellyan W62 is asking if var dump returns anything. I have no idea. That's a good question. Let's see. So we have, let's say, a variable. Thanks for the follow, Clem. Yeah, by the way, we're close to 100 viewers again across Twitch and YouTube. So thank you so much for being on that side. Today is more like a chilly, a chill live stream. A little bit tired from the week, must be honest, but feels good to be here talking a little bit about dark magic and PHP. If you don't know me, my name is Nunu. I work with Laravel and PHP and everything in between. If you watch me on Twitch or on YouTube, please give me a follow. I'm trying to, increase my audience on these platforms, and hopefully I will come up with very good streams for you all. Next Monday, we actually have a very special guest, which I have teased about already. I'm gonna give another tease to this very special guest. So yeah, we have a guest next Monday, and I think you guys will love it. So be here next Monday. We still have another stream on Sunday. So as a reminder, I'm streaming every single day at 9 p.m. That's my schedule. However, be mindful that I don't stream on Saturdays. On top of that, I'm releasing a new YouTube video at 1 p.m. every single day as well. Actually made a YouTube video today as well, which I talk about testing and how you should avoid mocks. So check it out. I think it will be fun if you like this kind of testing videos. But yeah, so yeah, that's it. So let's just see if var dump returns anything. How you would test if var dump returns anything? Would var dump the var dump? Dude, I'm gonna be honest, if var dump returns anything, I would be very surprised. I'm already seeing that var dump returns void, so potentially here you will have either nothing or close to nothing. Yeah, you have null, which is literally like PHP's way of, computing void to null, basically. So here I have a hello world, which is the var dump of the first result, but the result of this is literally null. That's why the second var dump prints null. Very good question, by the way. I love those ones. Yeah, DD stands for dump and die, basically. That's right. Guinness, you excited for Monday? Me too, man. We still have Sunday, and Sunday I'm pretty sure we can come up with some interesting topics. So be sure to you know to give me a follow and just keep watching my streams. All right, what else? So debug backtrace was a very fun one. I feel like create function. That one actually I have no idea what it does. Why would PHP have a create function? Is this like a eval less featured? Let's see. So create function in PHP, what does this receive? Oh boy, I don't think it exists anymore. Oh yeah, create function is a function that no longer exists. That's why ChatGPT is always wrong on this stuff. So it says deprecated, but apparently it's not even deprecated anymore. It doesn't exist actually. Oh, so apparently create function was something that would allow us to create lambda style functions. And now we can use anonymous functions instead. Interesting. All right. Anyways, that so. Yeah, Bird Potato is saying that this little function, create function, is gone since PHP 8. So anyways, a fun one. So then we have this stuff called stream wrapper and stuff like that. I'm gonna not dive into this because it's kind of hard to explain, but just to try to show you a little bit of what this allows. So sometimes you have functions like file get contents, which you would assume that are literally impossible to hook into. So if you want to, for example, fetch this given index PHP, which lives somewhere, like fetch this own file, obviously you can do this. And if I dd this content, it will be the content of the file itself appearing, which is exactly what you're seeing here. So people think that this is not possible actually hook into all of these calls, but you can indeed register a stream wrapper, which is what PHP calls it, and allows you to basically, hijack at runtime this given call and return something else. So potentially what you can do is register a stream wrapper and to hijack this given all of the functions that interact with the file system, so you would return something else instead. I have done stuff like this before, to try to come up with projects like PHP Plus or all these supersets in PHP. I was basically hijacking all of this stuff. So basically every time you would request a file that looks, for example, like syntax that wouldn't be possible in PHP, something like let's say short closures with multi-lines potentially, so this syntax is not yet available on PHP. So what I would do is literally inject a stream wrapper, which would capture this little thing and transform this on an actual function that looks like this, So this is probably too advanced for some of you. So yeah, but just keep in mind that allows you to do some crazy stuff with the file system and more. Okay, so I don't know if we have learned about this, but I'm going to just put it on top. Let's talk about this one, function get arguments. So this is a funny one actually. We use it as well all the time in Laravel. We can use the example of DD, to be honest. So on DD, not a lot of people know this, but on DD you can actually pass multiple parameters. Is GitHub Copilot listening to me? Jesus Christ. I just said I want to provide multiple parameters and this thing just printed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What? Is GitHub, are you listening to me? Come on, say to me, are you listening to me? Jesus. Anyways, I'm going to type PHP index and you will see that basically prints all of the given arguments. So as you can see, this function doesn't actually have any arguments, and there is actually two ways of solving this problem. The first thing you can do to solve this problem is literally use this little 3 points and provide an argument, and then you could literally provide this argument into the var dump. So that's the first thing you can do. The second thing you can do is literally just say, all right, I accept anything, and I'm going to grab that anything with this function func get args, and this will basically get all the arguments passed to the function, and it doesn't really matter if they are declared or not, which I feel it's a funny one. What do you guys think about this? Mateus is saying, hi Nuno, hi man, nice to see you here again. Welcome to the stream. Exetus is saying that var export. Oh, we could also test that one. I'm gonna add it here real quick. That's a good one as well. Yeah, so basically this is like function arguments is also kind of a funny one, I feel like. Let's see this var export deal. So var export, if I'm not mistaken, allows me to get a little bit more information from stuff. So potentially what I can do here is literally just try to var export the function args, and I do get a little bit more output on the console, if I'm not mistaken. Or yeah, output in a pretty way, that's why, yeah. So here, for example, instead of having, potentially, I can actually do this, I feel like var, actually just for each function get args, and then I would var export each one of those. And I feel what I will have is potentially nothing pretty. Yeah, var export kind of humanizes the given variable as a string. That's the way I see it, okay? So every time you have a variable, it's a regular string potentially. Something you can do is use this var export deal to make it, pretty if you want. So if I were, for example, to var export, for example, a string. Oops. Yeah, I have literally the string as a literal on the console. Corco is saying, I never liked the func get arguments. It's too hidden. I prefer to use veridic now. Yeah, so veridic, folks, is the term this guy in the chat is saying for kind of, this is called veridic. Having 3 points and then the variable. So yeah, you can either do this like veridic and then provide the given arguments right here, or you can just use this func get arguments, which is indeed, as he's saying, a little bit more magical. Anderson is saying, hi Nuno, I'm passing here to give like, congratulate the content. Thank you so much, man. In making a question, if I'm planning making a series on YouTube, I don't know. I like live streaming, so I'm probably just keeping doing this. So this is var export, folks. What else we have here? So stream wrapper, we are not seeing those ones. Register function, oh my god, this one is so magical. You guys will never want to use this one. I have had serious problems with this one. So sometimes, again, this one is something you would never use, man. But sometimes you want to register like a given closure that should run when PHP is about to exit, like literally ending the script completely, okay? So let's assume you have, you have here something that does stuff, and here's something that does stuff. But now you want to say, okay, I want to clean all the stuff, but I need to get this done no matter what happens and no matter what I do in the future. So what you can do here is just register this shutdown function and just keep doing stuff, you know what I mean? And this clean stuff will appear right in the end. I'm not even sure if it's even possible to echo stuff from this given function. But I'm gonna just try something here. So I'm gonna call this 1, okay? This I'm gonna call 2. In here I'm gonna call 3, and here I'm gonna call 4. I expect this clean stuff to appear at the very end, when the PHP is literally about to die. Exactly, so the clean stuff appears at the end. And one cool thing about this, if I'm not mistaken, is that if you throw an exception here, for example, it will still clean stuff. You guys know this is a funny one, right? Corco is saying you can also use veridic to unveridict the array. Yeah, indeed. I can also, use veridicts. What he's saying is basically that I could potentially do this if I want to, like arguments, and then this, which is indeed I can do this. Yeah, but this one's a register shutdown function. I think I have. I don't think I have ever used it, to be honest. Because typically if I need to perform some sort of cleanup, what I would do is typically try something, and I would possibly do a finally. So on PHP you can do something here, you know, and if this something actually fails, this finally will still be called, which, you know, technically solves the problem we are facing here. But this register shutdown function will literally run as the last piece of the puzzle. Like if you have a domino, let's say, this will be the final piece eating the floor. Is literally this callback. So Philippa Rowe is saying that multiple calls to register shutdown function can be made. Let's test that out. So I'm gonna clean this stuff up 1. And I'm going to register a new one just below with the value vardump2. Let's see. Very interesting. So apparently they kind of chain on top of each other, and all of them they get called sequentially. This is a good one, I feel like. You know, register shutdown function. So this one I was aware of it. I wasn't aware that I could potentially register multiple ones. But I don't think I have ever used it, you know. I think I have just once, used this function on past PHP as test suite, because on past we have this after all, and I actually had no way of testing this besides adding a register shutdown function, which would exit with 1 if my expectations were not there. So even then, I mean, this is like heavily dark magic, man. So do not ever look at this anymore. Philippa is saying it's funny that we can register a shutdown function inside a setup function and into stack. Oh, can we? Don't you think that probably that will... Well, let me try something. How do you know these things, by the way? Why would you know this? Like, this is stuff that kind of people don't have to know about, right? So I'm gonna run PHP. Indeed, apparently the cleanup stuff too gets indeed call. That's a nice one. Thank you for calling me out. All right, register shutdown function. Very cool one. We just learned off. Okay. There you go. Why would you know these functions? All right, what do we have here? Yeah, we have this one, which is kind of funny. This function num arguments. So basically, like on this DD call, for example, something I can do is var export the number of arguments provide. So if I were to type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the first var dump will actually just display the number 5, which is effectively the number of arguments I'm providing. So, you know, in PHP you have this func num args to get the number of arguments provided, but you also have this func get arguments to get all of the arguments, you know, provided to the function. So I'm gonna put this as part of the func get args because they are kind of combined, I feel like. Anderson Marcellus is saying it's like add event listener on JavaScript. You're talking about the register shutdown function. Yeah, a little bit. I would say it's a little bit different though, because the register shutdown function is still a little bit too, you know, you would never use it. However, add event listener, you probably would use it on JavaScript multiple times. Philippa is saying that you have I have built for myself a tool with Laravel 0, kind of a CLI tool, and I use this. Right, makes sense. Okay. Okay, what else do we have? This one, I'm aware of it. This one, I'm aware of it. Shell execute, which ChatGPT is saying execute shell script. Extremely dangerous. Yeah, it's kind of dangerous if you don't control the input. So, you know, if you allow the user via HTTP to provide anything, yeah, you want to avoid this, you know. But if you control, you know, what exactly is being provided to this deal, I think it's kind of okay. So the shell execute returns a string. So I feel like we can this would be like the result potentially. So I'm going to DD the result. And what allows you to do is, as the function name says, do just basically a shell script. And as you can see, it's pretty much outputting the result of ls, la. We are on this terminal and on this directory. Zul85 is saying that shell execute is mostly banned on host service. So indeed, by the way, while we are talking on this, I don't know how many of you use PAST-PHP is a security preset, but on PAST3, which is the testing framework I have developed, kind of like Jest for PAST-PHP, for PHP, apologize, you have this concept of presets. In one of these presets is called security. So a preset is basically like a group of tasks that will just run automatically. And one of these presets is called security. So you can literally just type this in your project. One single line, you know, and you get a bunch of functions like the ones we are seeing right now will be banned from being used in your project. So one single line, arch preset security, and all of these functions like eval, shell execute, you know, a bunch of functions will basically be banned from your project and you won't be able to use them, at least make the test suite to pass. If you want to ignore, you can literally just provide an array, just that looks like this. And then you can provide, you know, a couple of functions you wish to still use in your project because you do control, you know, entirely the environment. So past security presets, check them out. Pick and flow says it's pretty cool, probably related to the shell execute. I agree, yeah. Kefin Dev is saying that we love past. Thank you, man. I love past too. Felipe is saying that in Laravel world we mostly use VPS and we can use shell execute for free. Yeah, indeed, man. Most of us are using Laravel Forge at the moment, and indeed we can use shell execute over there. Chilling. All right, what else we have here? So what is a backtick operator? This one I have literally no idea. I'm gonna move this one to the top. The backtick operator from ChatGPT's description seems to be similar to shell execute. So can I just type back ticket operator? Huh? What is the back ticket operator? Is this thing? No. Isn't, right? What is this? I don't think it's working though. Would you expect to work like this? Wait, what? Did you guys know this? Oh my god, the things I discovered with PHP in 2024. What is it? Like, who? What? I didn't know this, man. I didn't know we could provide this backtick operator and literally, you know, run shell scripts like this. Does anyone know this? Oh my god! I'm literally so tired that this little thing makes me laugh so hardcore at the moment. I had no idea PHP had this. How the hell? And more than 10 years of PHP professional programming, I had no idea that the backtick operator could potentially run shell scripts. Oh my god. James GGJ is saying this is mental. What the fuck is that? For real? I like, come on, man. Nobody in the PHP world could know this. Come on, man. I have never seen this in my life, I think. What? Just by the way, even PHP Storm seems to... Oh, okay. Wait, now I'm like so confused. We had a DD here. Oh, okay. Woof. Okay. Oh my god, the things I discover after 10 years in PHP. It's kind of crazy. I'm not a big fan of plugins in PHP Storm, man. Apologize. Maybe next day. Not for now. Mateus is saying one more thing to have to pass his PHP security preset for real. Florian Beer is saying read my messages above. Let me check. Oh, Florian is saying that the backtick is the same as shall. By the way, Florian, welcome to the stream, man. Nice to see you here. Is saying that this little backtick thing apparently is the same thing as running something like this in the shell, which potentially would, you know, save the output of this shell command. But I'm so surprised. Like, I'm so surprised. Oh my god. Oh no, my god, oh my god, oh my god. I'm so surprised. What's happening here? What is happening here? Do I have a DD anywhere? Oh, this is returning 1. Why is that? Because of this little thing? Oh, because it's not like a bash script. Do I need to type this? Probably do, right? There you go. Oh my god, I'm gonna screenshot this right here. I'm so surprised, chat. Like, today's stream was already worth it just because of this little deal. Jesus Christ. I'm gonna name this thing Nuno is stream operator. Okay, this thing will not be called backtick anymore. Right now, this little thing will be called learn about Nuno is stream operator. Okay, come on, man. Nobody knew this on PHP. They probably had this thing hidden from us since the first days on PHP. Who know this? Like, who? Oh my god, hilarious, just hilarious. So Filipa is saying that the backtick operator is disabled when shell execute is disabled. Yeah, because they do the same thing, so I guess it makes sense. Hali is saying that I knew this. It's same in Perl. Yeah, Perl have a lot of PHP have a lot of Perl, knowledge. So probably it came from there. Oh my god, hilarious, man! This was already worth it. Such a good stream already, just because of this little thing. Okay, this one I'm aware. This one I'm aware. This one is kind of funny. The assert function, some of you probably know this one. So, you know, sometimes let's say you have a function which accepts potentially, something like do stuff, and that do stuff accepts a string potentially, okay, which will be the name, and returns back void potentially, okay. And something you can do, obviously, with something like PHP stan is type something that looks like this. You can type a non-empty string potentially, okay, which effectively with PHP stan will ensure that no empty strings come here. But this is like computed at static time, you know what I mean? So sometimes you want to have a safety of some sort of, runtime safety into this stuff. So you can use something that looks like this: assert, not empty string potentially, okay? So this is what this allows me to do. I'm going to use actually the string length bigger than 0. So if I call do stuff Nuno, this should just work. But if I do stuff Nuno with potentially just an empty string, this will complain because there is an assertion error. Okay. So the assert function basically ensures that the given condition inside is true, and if it's not true, will basically bail out, which is kind of a fun function. I like this function. And apparently we can provide a string. So I'm going to just do name must not be empty. And now it says that the name must not be empty. I know that some servers do have this thing disabled in production. I don't know why PHP would disable this in production, but I feel it's a great function. What do you guys think about the assert? It's a good one, right? Well, nothing will, just by the way, I'm going to give you upfront already upfront. Nothing here will beat Nuno is stream operator, okay? Nuno is stream operator will just win anything we may find from this point, Still, the assert one is kind of a fun one that I'm using all the time. Oh my god. The backtick operator, hilarious. Assert, extract. Ooh, this is a sexy one. So, extract. Yeah, how can I demo this deal? So, if I do a equals to 1. So now we are going to dive into extract, which is a very fun one. Okay. Adelius is saying, I like assert, though I rarely use it. I suppose people disable it as they assume that is for testing things. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel it's a great function to just do a quick assert, and sometimes you want to have some more safety into things, and you don't want to, you know, create your own exception, and you just want to evaluate the thing like fast. I think it's a great function. Yeah. For those who just arrived, my name is Nuno, PHP, Laravel developer, streamer on Twitch now, and, you know, if you watch me, please give me a follow. I'm trying to, you know, increase my audience on both Twitch and YouTube. I'm streaming every single day at 9 p.m. except Saturday, and also publishing videos on YouTube every single day. Just by the way, I've received during the week some people making me questions like how they can support, you know, my live streams. So there is something like super simple you can do, which is super helpful, which is every time you're watching a stream of mine and you like it, you know, you can potentially just leave a like button, or you see a YouTube video of mine and you like the video, give me a like there as well. That is really super helpful. So, you know, if you do that, it will be really appreciated. All right, let's see this extract function from PHP, which is also a funny one. So if I have the variable hey, which contains the, let's say 1, and I have variable 2, which contains 2, and I lose track of this variable, so I don't know which variables are on this script anymore. Something I can do is literally just type extract, if I'm not mistaken. What is this? All right, maybe I'm mistaken. Let's see. Import the variables into the current symbol table from an array. Oh, I need to provide an array. This is the kind of very old PHP API where I need to provide an empty array, and then the empty array will actually have something, which is kind of crazy. Because back in the days, things would be passed as references. It's just, you know, kind of C stuff. But now I'm going to DD the contents of the array, and you will see that. Wow, Adilas, thank you so much for the subscription of 6 months, man. Thank you so much. So I was saying that if you basically have this extract, will basically put any variable it finds on the script, which is A and B, into this given array as reference. And then if I provide PHP index PHP, you will see that what I do have here is I'm gonna just remove this real quick. It's an empty array, which is interesting. Why is that? Okay, Felipe is saying that what I'm talking about, it's called get defined vars, which is exactly what you're saying. So what is extract? Maybe I don't know. All right, let's read something of this. Imports the variables into the current symbol table from an array. Oh, I know what this does. Oh my God, it's kind of the inverse. So this is a cool one. This is a magic one. Are you guys ready? So watch this out. I'm gonna do the following. As you can see, no variables, so 0 variables on the script, okay? And I'm gonna write the following. I'm gonna type the following. I'm gonna type Nuno or stream, and this will contain the value of Nuno, okay? Just a key array thing, you know? What do you think it happens if I now just type this? DD stream. So stream is not the variable, as you can see. It's not the variable, but PHP behind the scenes of this extract will kind of create the variable with the name stream. I hope this is true, otherwise. And it is, yeah, let's go. So stream, the result of stream is literally, you know, just a Nuno as a result. Kind of a funny one, right? Adilas is saying extracts moves variables out of the array. Exactly what we are doing here. So moving basically makes a variable with the name stream, which is the key we are giving here and puts as a value Nuno, which is kind of a funny one. Adilas is saying is useful for template engines. Yeah, for real. It looks like a fun one because, you know, stuff like Blade, for example, you want to provide, you know, potentially something like looks like this, like view with all of these variables. So what PHP and Laravel does behind the scenes is extract that within the Blade template, so you have access to all those variables just like this. So it's kind of a fun one. Adalish, dude, thank you so much for the 6 months, you know, of subscriptions. I'm really feeling that Twitch works a little bit better in terms of revenue. And, you know, so thank you so much for that, man. Really appreciate it. Philippa is saying that extract is used a lot on WordPress. Yeah, gotcha, yeah. David is saying this is really beautiful. Well, I don't know if extract is a beautiful thing, but definitely works. Definitely works cool, I feel like. So just to clarify, if I were to return, for example, on my view, something that looks like, let's say, users potentially, and this would contain all users, on Blade dot, let's say, users list dot blade PHP, what Laravel does behind the scenes is literally call this extract function within the Blade template. That's why you have access to a variable users. So if I do this, you will see Nuno, Miguel, and João, which is kind of funny. This one is a good one. Kind of forgot a little bit what this was about. Felipe is saying that he's the opposite of compact. Yeah, so the compact function is, all right, let me just demo this to you. So if you would do something like stream equals to Nuno, which is kind of the opposite indeed. Stream equals to Nuno, users equals to Nuno, Miguel, João. Miguel is my second name, by the way. But so Nuno, Miguel, João, what I can do here is literally do this. I'm going to DD the compact of stream and users. So I'm basically say, find the variable user, the stream, and find the variable users. And what I do have here is literally like an array, which is the opposite of the extract, where the key stream points to the value Nuno, and the key users points to the values Nuno, Miguel, and João. Kind of a fun one, I feel like. Yeah, extract and compact, those are good ones, I feel like. Okay, let's see one more before we close the stream off. Don't forget to tell me to do a raid, okay? I need to try that thing today. Okay, let's see one last one. We could see the get defined vars, which could be a potentially one. Yeah, let's just leave it here. Pick and Flow, thank you so much for the 5 subscriptions, man. Thank you so much for your support, dude. And that's also talk about generators, because it was like a request from one of you in the chat. All right, so just a reminder, Monday we have a special guest. Here is the teaser about Monday, okay? I'm gonna just leave here this emoji. Monday we are going to have a special guest. I think you are going to love the stream. We still have streams Sunday as well. Probably will be during the afternoon and not at 9 p.m. I still need to check it out. But yeah, for those who just arrived, my name is Nuno, PHP developer and Laravel developer and everything in between. If you watch me on Twitch or on YouTube, give me a follow, please, because I'm trying to increase my audience on both these platforms. Okay, let's see, get defined vars. So this one is actually a very interesting one as well, which was the one I was originally explaining literally 3 minutes ago, which is you have a variable, call it A1, for example, variable, call it B2, and you just, you know, things happen, it's like a template, or you don't know the initial thing, you know, anymore. Something you can do to literally just check everything defined is just call get defined vars at some point, and then you will have literally an array which contains, you know, all the defined vars. Now, which is A equals to 1 and B equals to 2. But something funny which is happening here, which is because we are calling get defined vars at the root script of PHP, I'm also getting the super variables that PHP have. And I'm literally already leaking variables and shit, so I'm gonna stop it right here. Yeah, basically get defined vars gives you kind of all the variables in your scripts which is, you know, kind of a fun thing you would like to do and to use, I feel like. Yeah. Give me 1 second here real quick. But yeah, get defined vars, you know, basically allows you to fetch all the defined vars you have defined already in this given script, and it will just basically print them out into the console. Anderson Barcelos is asking me if this live will be stay saved on YouTube. Yes, it will. So all my lives are literally on YouTube and also on Twitch, and you can find them there, all of them. So, all right, one last topic before we go. Today we have learned a bunch of literally dark magic functions already. Debug backtrace, you know, all of this stuff. I think it was a very fun one, including Nuno is stream operator, which is kind of a very funny one. So get defined vars. Let's see the last one, which is a generator. So not a lot of people know about generators in PHP, but let's talk a little bit about that. So sometimes, let's say, you have something that looks like get elements, okay? And sometimes getting the elements means multiple HTTP calls, okay? Let's say you return all the elements. However, to compute these elements, you have to potentially do multiple DB queries, okay? So for example, for the element A, you will need to do a DB query here, okay? For the element B, you will need to do another DB query, and for element C, you will need to do another DB query. And when I'm saying DB queries, I could potentially say something like HTTP calls and things like that. So what it can do is literally use the yield function, which will return a generator. So let me just, you know, first of all, have something like running. So I'm going to just call this, you know, 1, I'm going to call this thing 2, and I'm going to call this thing 3. Okay, and I'm going to return this back, and I'm going to just say this will be element 1 and 2 and 3. There we go. And finally, I'm going to call all the elements with a DD, which, I mean, effectively should just return 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so this is kind of expected. So let's simulate the DB query, which could be potentially very slow. Okay, so I'm going to type sleep 1 here as well, and sleep 1 here as well. So now I'm gonna, you know, potentially have here 3 seconds of waiting, which is kind of expected. I'm gonna var dump something into these deals as well. So let's just say 1, and this will be 2, and this will be 3. So I expect to see 1, 2, 3. All right, so all of this stuff is kind of expected, but so the problem about this function is that in order to have the first element out, you literally have to wait for all of the 3 seconds. So what you can do potentially with this generators deal is that instead of returning all of them at the end, you can return them as soon as they are ready. So here what I can do is type yield yay, okay? I think I can use this format. I'm gonna just return it afterwards because I'm not really sure. Okay, here we go. Yield A. Here I'm gonna put yield B. And here I'm gonna put yield C. Okay. And if I were to do something like for each get elements var dump already reading or already fetched, let's say. Okay, this should actually do the job. Let me just first not do wheels at all, and then do them to kind of showcase what this yield stuff is about. So first I'm going to return them like all of them at the same time. So what will happen is that we see 1, we see 2, we see 3, and then we see the kind of the result of all already fetched, but all at the same time. So basically I only see already fetched 1 when I have already fetched the number 3. So which kind of, you know, not ideal. So what I can do is this. Just use yield, which is a generator keyword. And hopefully I will see 1 and then already fetched, 2 and then already fetched. There we go. You see? So it's kind of a way more performant way. It's kind of also good for memory because once you return an element, you can discard the element as well at the same time. So as you can see, you are literally, you know, fetching the number 1, and the function, the for each below already consumed that. And when it's fetching the second element, it's when jumps to the second part of this deal, which is kind of a very interesting one. Pick and Flow is saying, this is awesome, I love it. Yeah, generators are very powerful in PHP. And all of the asynchronous frameworks we see out there, most of them are based on this yield API. Adilas is saying that quite a few API clients use generators to stream data for you. Yeah, I mean, yields and generators are very powerful. As we can see, like the very first time we running this code, we saw like literally, we waited 3 seconds to start iterating those elements, you know, and with yields and generators, we are literally, you know, as soon as we have them available, we say they are available, you can already use them up front, which in my opinion is a very powerful thing. Adilas is saying the generator also helps a lot with not collecting a bit result array, just return at the end. Yeah, exactly. Like potentially, here we're talking about 3 elements, right? We talk that this at the end returns 3 elements, but potentially we could talk about an Excel file or, you know, a CSV file which contains thousands of or potentially millions of lines, which could result on the big memory, you know, issue for your program or for your PHP application, which wouldn't have enough memory to keep those elements as array. So if you can return them sequentially one by one, you don't need to ever persist them in memory, which is very powerful, as you can imagine. Yeah, Atilas is saying that the control flow will not be the same, basically. It's indeed not the same, right? Because previously we were making 3 API calls and then, you know, returning them, and that's it. Now we are doing an API call and then do stuff and then doing another API call. So obviously the flow will not be the same. So we do have to keep that in mind. Okay, so this is generators. I think it was a very fun way to end the stream today. So today's stream, I wanted to do this stuff for a long time, kind of diving into this magic PHP functions. And I feel like overall, if I had to declare a top 5 of functions that I love on all of this stuff, well, first of all, Nuno is stream operator will definitely be the first one. Okay, so top 5 would be Nuno is stream operator on the first position. The second position will probably be highlight file was a good surprise, I feel like. What do you guys think? Highlight file was a good surprise. I had no idea we had this. Debug function? Yeah, debug function. Let's go. Debug function was also a fun one, I feel like. What else? I'm gonna let you decide which are the 4th and 5 functions you guys most loved on these ones. What do you guys think? Come on, chat. I'm waiting for suggestions here. Josh Mathers is asking if PHP has generators. Indeed, PHP does have generators. We just saw an example, and you know, super powerful for managing big chunks of information that potentially would demand a lot of memory. And with generators, we can literally avoid that. Yeah, let's use generators in the 4th position. It's definitely a powerful one. And the final one, we could put potentially, let me think. Let's use the serialize and unserialize stuff. Kind of funny as well. So this will be my top 5 of the stream, I feel like. Okay. Yeah. So weekend is coming, guys. You know, Saturday is coming. Sunday is coming. I hope all of you have, you know, a fun weekend. Be sure to be with your family, man. You know, family is one of the most important things we can have. So be sure to be with your family. You probably had, you know, a very busy week. You're probably a little bit tired, but be sure to dedicate all your weekend to your family, to be with them, to be with your partner, to be with your kids, you know, to visit your parents potentially. And, you know, because life is short, I mean, you kind of want to leverage those moments to really, you know, say that you love to your loved ones. So that being said, today's stream is kind of reaching the end. Thank you all for being on that side. We are back Sunday for more streams. You know, Sunday I'm still a topic that yet to be decided. But yeah, thank you so much for this fun stream, everyone. And I see you all Sunday, okay? All right, good weekend, everyone. Peace out. Wow, you guys remember me of rating someone, huh? Matheus Jungle is saying, remember to rate someone. All right, let's rate someone. Thank you so much for the reminder. So, how do I rate someone? I'm going to try to find out, okay? I have never done this, okay? So I'm going to go to my phone because apparently I can do that from my phone. Okay, Matheus Junges is saying, I think it's /rate. So I'm gonna go to my phone because I think there is a button literally for that. Okay, there is a button called rate channel. So I'm gonna click on rate channel. And once I click on it, I see a bunch of channels that I follow, okay? So which streamers, programming-wise, do you think are cool enough to get a rate from a PHP crew? Let's see. So I'm gonna open here Twitch real quick and go to the programming scene to see, you know, if we can rate someone cool. So I'm gonna click on browse and then I'm gonna click on software and game dev. Don't we have like PHP people on the scene? Holy shit, so many noise. Ugh. Let me check here. Hi Edgar, nice to see you, man. CM Griffin, yeah, we could rate them, yeah. Let me check. All right, I clicked on software and game development, and I think CM Griffin is the one I'm watching right now. How can I remove the sound? Okay, I just did it. All right, let's do that. CM Griffin, which apparently he is developing a SaaS with quota and use based. All right, let's give him a rate, okay, folks? Let's see if this even works. First time doing this, okay? Edgar, I see you next time. That's all right, okay? Okay, so the channel is CM Griffin. I have no idea who this guy is, by the way, okay? I'm giving it a rate just to try it out. All right. So what I do expect to happen when I click on this button is that I think you will be redirected to the stream. Am I right? So when you give a rate on Twitch, what exactly happens, by the way? It's like all your people who are watching you on Twitch will be redirected to this channel, or it's something else. Can you guys explain me, please? Okay, so Adela's is saying that it should just redirect to sends everyone connected to the chat to the recipient channel. All right, so let's try this. So for those of you who are going to be redirected, thank you so much for being that side. Also, thank you for reminding me to do a raid. And I hope this works good. All right, so let's give it a try.
Point. I just wanted to double check that though. Trying to figure out why your Flask app won't launch via Flask, but runs fine in Python. Is Flask its own runtime?
All right, should be it. So yeah, for those who stayed,
I thought it was just a library.
see you all next time. And now, for real, peace out.